Hujambo mwenyeji, asante sana kujumuika nasi. Jina langu ni Moses Okech, na hivi ndivyo tunaanza mazungumzo ya siku ya leo, kwamba kuna baadhi ya watu ambao wameweza kuzungumzia swala ambalo limekuwa likisheni kwenye mitandao ya kijamii, hasa swala la Naibu Rais Rigathi Gachagua. Lakini bado ukiangalia kwenye mitandao ya kijamii kumekuwa na gumzo mtaani, wanasema kwamba mtuse aliweza kujiweka matatani ama aliweza kuingia matatani baada ya kuweza kuleta jarida ambalo lilionekana kwamba linawavutia wengi na wakati mwingine linawatia wengine changamoto. Mpenzi mtazamaji, wewe una maoni gani kuhusiana na jinsi waziri that is Mwengi Mutuse alivyowasilisha mswada wake na vile vile pia pale bungeni na seneti? Cheza kama wewe kwenye mitandao ya kijamii sa Facebook na YouTube, tupo live. Hii ni Bunge la Wenyeji. Makala yanapoanza nipo na viongozi wawili ambao watanisaidia kujadili swala hili, ya kwamba baada ya matukio haya yote kuweza kutokea kwenye bunge la kitaifa na bila shaka bunge la seneti, wazo sasa lipo wapi? Huku Naibu Rais Rigathi Gachagua akionekana kwamba ataweza kuwa na pigo kubwa baada ya yote kuweza kutukia, na iwapo ataweza kuondolewa mamlakani baada ya kuweza kufanya uamuzi kwenye mahakama, basi masala yatakuwa kama yapi? Bila shaka kabla sijaanza mazungumzo haya, acha wangwana hawa wapate kujitambulisha ndipo waweze kujua masuala ambayo wataweza kuibua kwenye bunge la wenyeji. Tuanze nawe.
Asante sana kwa hii nafasi. Kwa majina naitwa Maobe Victor Nyanyuki. Mimi ni Commander in Chief of the Kenya Economic Freedom Fighters. Na nimefurahia sana kujumuika hapa ili tuweze kujadili hii mambo ya impeachment ya Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. However, I have my reservations to make. Through the courts, the Deputy President might retain his position.
All right. Sawa. Kaka?
Yeah, good morning, Kenyans. And thank you so much, Moses, for having me here again. So my name is Veran Festus Mukanda. I'm also an activist on matters politics, economy, and social justice. So today I'm here also to be very much neutral in our discussion. Today I will not be so much raging, because we just need Kenyans to understand literally what is going on and what might be a prediction of the outcome through the court. Thank you.
Vile mlivyotaja, natumai kwamba kiongozi Victor umesema kwamba ni freedom fighter. Hujakuja kuweza kupigania haki ya Naibu wa Rais Rigathi Gachagua. Okay,
mimi generally napigania haki ya kiuchumi ya Wakenya wote, and generally in Africa, because our main party is in South Africa, the EFF, Economic Freedom Fighters, led by CDC, Julius Malema. But sasa hapa kwa leo tunajadili about the Deputy President, and of which that's a matter of national concern. Deputy President was elected alongside the President. There is a difference between Vice President and Deputy President. Vice President was appointed by the President by then, but the Deputy President is elected together with the President. So there is a procedure in which Deputy President alijipata kuwa Deputy President. Our current Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, he fell apart with the President, who is the party leader of the UDA party. But again, even after falling apart with them, there has always been wrangles here and there. However, it got to a point where he was impeached. We saw the impeachment motion went through both houses. Ilianza na National Assembly, ikakuja kwa Senate. Now at the Senate something happened, and this thing that happened, remember this is a very unique case kwa sababu huyu ndio Deputy President wa kwanza katika nchi ya Kenya kupelekwa katika impeachment motion yake kukua table before Parliament. So in my own opinion, when the Deputy President fell sick at the Senate, the Senate will have adjourned and then resume after the Deputy President is back on his feet again.
Kuna mtu atasema kwamba masuala ambayo yalikuwa yanafaa kuangaziwa ni dhabiti sana kuliko sasa afya ya Naibu Rais wakati huu.
Impeachment of a Deputy President is not an emergency. Kwa hivyo hatukuwa na any state of emergency ya kuharakisha maneno. The law has to be followed regardless of how long inachukua. Na bado pia tena tukiangalia kisheria, ili kutoa Deputy President kwa kiti, there's a procedure. And replacing the Deputy President also is a procedure.
Tunasema kwamba hawakuweza kufuata hiyo procedure ambayo unasema.
Hawakuifuata vile inafaa kikatiba. Kwa sababu jambo la kwanza, Deputy President was the sole witness. He had to witness, he had to be interrogated in the Senate. He was not given a fair hearing. So which means at the Senate level, the impeachment motion, actually it has a lot of question marks. Why the hurry? That is the question every Kenyan is asking. Hatuna shida wewe kutoa deputy president, lakini why the hurry? Why don't we follow the law? Why don't we do it within the law? So the law was not followed at the Senate, and the speaker giving, I think he gave how many minutes? He gave 2 hours or something. 2 hours, right? You cannot predict how long it will take for an individual to get well again. If you fall sick right now, the speaker is not a doctor.
Acha nimuulize Vera, wewe kwa msimamo wako unaona kwamba kuna wakati ambapo tunasema bunge la kitaifa pamoja na seneti na pamoja na spika zao waliweza kuharakisha sehemu hizi?
I think Moses, as my friend Victor says, you know, this country will not, it's not well properly managed in all the arms of the government, especially in our parliament. These parliamentarians, I call them myopic thinkers, who have perpetually continued to undermine their own value, integrity and repetition, imbibed to the briberies, bootlicking, manipulations, and there is no word in that. So all the processes were shoddy, and I can describe them like, I don't know, hot air process. Like, you know, it's something that was choreographed, something that somebody was giving pressure externally to ensure that this process takes as little time as possible, but with less focus on the key constitutional guidelines. So telling me that in a span of, is it 2 weeks or even 1.5 weeks, the president, who is the key stakeholder of the executive, gets impeached, that is worthless, and that is not according to the constitution. As my good friend Victor has said, you know, a deputy president is not like a vice president. During the promulgation of the 2010 Kenyan constitution that was done on 27th of August 2010, the clause easily and well describes the mandate of the president, the deputy president, in Article 147. It said that the deputy president will be the principal assistant to the president in carrying out the duties, right? So when the impeachment is done, we need to have a clear indication, a clear stages and a clear process of impeaching the president, because unajua, these powers are joint. First of all, you have to understand, after that promulgation of that constitution, to some extent the powers of the deputy and the president were joint. There is a very little separation of the powers. So he's an image, he's a principal assistant of the key image of this country. So the parliaments, first of all, fall out because, you know, most of them, we have seen, it is something repeated. It's a history that the parliaments, when there is a heightened or rather heated motion, they get home with a very huge and pregnant brown envelope. So they focused on brown envelope rather than focusing on the key issues of impeachment. So during the parliament, when Honorable Mutuse was presenting the case, who was the key move of that motion, he had no antagonist to do what? To challenge the motion. He only had protagonist in majority. Because now in parliament, majority falls under the ruling party. So this ruling party, the parliamentarians falling under the ruling party needs to abide by their master's command and rule. So Mutuse presenting that motion during the parliamentary sittings and everything, we saw it moving so swiftly, and even it could lure Kenyans to really know that Gachagua is the bad person in this picture. But now when it went to the Senate, Senate is a little bit a higher office, a higher sitting as compared to the parliaments, because these are the people who reasons, and Kenyans really expected Senate to have a clear listening, a clear, you know, a clear rule out. Unfortunately, at the during the Senate hearings and everything, we see our deputy president falling sick, and you know, you cannot predict the stability of health to any person. Kwa hivyo
hapo kwa kuwa mgonjwa na unahisi kwamba Speaker Kingi angeweza sasa kusimamisha kabisa, na mbona hakusimamisha basi?
Absolutely, and that is what I'm saying. In fact, hapo hivyo, they immediately His Excellency Gachagua fall ill. It could have, the motion could have stopped immediately. According to the constitution, there is a very proper
guideline. Mbona
haikusimama kwa sababu, as I said before, these people fall for the pressure that came externally from their masters, that this thing has to be done. Because remember, you know, let me just take you back a little bit. The deputy president to His Excellency William Samoei Ruto was picked from mountains, simply because the president wanted to get these votes massively and mount to power. But again, historically, deputy presidents have not, you know, been executing on their mandates entirely, because we have had fallouts in between. But this case, Gachagua's fallout was easily seen during the June demonstration, where he was one of the key accusers of having been instigated these demonstrations. The second thing that made the president to really understand that he cannot work with Gachagua is when we had parallel speech upon heightened demonstrations in June. Gachagua giving speech from Coast, while the president giving speech in Nairobi. And when Gachagua was giving his speech, being a truthful man, he told Kenyans, he told the public clearly that the NIC report that is being forwarded to president is a manipulated report that is aimed to name key individuals who are pushing for these demonstrations. Wanjigu was there, Uhuru Kenyatta was there, Gachagua was also there. So the president came to realize that, oh, this report from NIC is the true report, only to realize that there was much to consider more than that particular report. So that is when the war started between the president and the deputy president. So the president started choreographing this subject of impeachment. And you know, Waswahili wanasema, when you read a book that it has no sadfa, sintofahamu, maudhui yake hayana ladha. You understand? So in this thing, there is no any dilemma. The Kenyans could expect from here to here, we are expecting this and this. So the impeachment process was choreographed, and there is nothing to, you know, to kushtuka about, because we know very well that Gachagua is a truthful man and is fighting to the end. So him moving to the court should serve justice to the deputy president of Kenya by being very keen, by being very obliged to the constitution. They should not separate themselves from the reality on the ground. Yes.
Mawakili wengi waliweza kuwa pale wakiweza kusema mambo yao kwa dhidi ya waziri Mwengi Mutuse, na masuala haya yalionekana kuweza kumtishia ama kumtia uoga Mwengi Mutuse ili kuweza kuwasilisha masuala yake kwa njia iliyo bora. Victor, unahisi kwamba Mutuse alianza kuogopa wakati ambapo waliona chuma kimotoni na joto jingi limeanza kumpanda?
Mutuse kwanza ni wakili according to his academic qualifications, na pia ni member of parliament. He is a lawmaker kutoka Kibwezi. So lakini ukiangalia jinsi ambavyo Mutuse aliweza kuwasilisha ile jumbe ama ile petition ama ile motion ya impeachment, Mutuse hakuwa anajielewa. Reason being, ninashuku kuwa si yeye alidraft ile motion as the mover of the motion. The motion had been drafted elsewhere, and he was like, ni nani yule ambaye atafunga kengele kwa shingo ya paka? And Mutuse came out, and of course it came with its own benefits, which we need to mention here. But this was exposed in the Senate. Kwa sababu with the Senate, it was two processes. Process ya kwanza ni legislative, ya pili ilikuwa kainda judicial. So kulikuwa na unaojiwa, lakini unaojiwa kisheria. It's like a small court ambapo unajieleza kulingana na yale ambayo uliwasilisha. Mutuse was not able to differentiate. He was not able to substantiate. Kwa sababu kama ile mambo ya shares, anaulizwa 10,000 shares, beneficiary ni kina nani? Ni watoto wa the late brother to the deputy president. And do you agree with this, that they fully own the company? Mutuse could not say yes or no. A simple question of yes or no, Mutuse was not able to answer. Reason being, he was not certain. Actually, he was shocked to find that these things existed in that motion. So, in that impeachment motion, I want to tell Mutuse this thing. I think Mutuse, and every Kenyan feels the same. Mutuse ought to have prepared properly before going to the Senate. If it's indeed Mutuse who drafted that motion, the impeachment motion, akungekuwa na ile aibu ambayo tuliona tukiwa kwa Senate. So in my own opinion, Mutuse was just the person who was ready to go and hang the bell on the neck of the cat, kwa sababu kuna benefits ambazo zilikuja nazo. Mutuse has never practiced law himself. He doesn't have any qualification in conveyancing, and he admitted it. In fact, Willy Mutunga, the former CJ, said that Mutuse should be stripped of his law degree. Reason being, anaibisha malawyer, and actually is acting outside the code of conduct of lawyers. How do you lie? In fact, Mutuse should have been, he should be, how do I call it? He should be accused of lying, because Mutuse lied before the upper house, saying that he has practiced, yet he was serving as a chief of staff in the county government of Machakos.
But wacha nikukatishe kidogo. Vera, unahisi kwamba baadhi ya wale mawakili ambao walikuwa wanawasilisha pia maswali yao pale kwenye bunge la seneti walikuwa wanaonekana ni kama intimidate Mwingi Mutuse?
As my friend has said, Mutuse admitted that he's a lawyer, right? So we expected that the same energy, the same zeal and zest he had in parliament, in lower house, he could have translated the same to the Senate, because you know, when you are a motion mover, you ought to be having a good file of facts, and you are ready to face any raging reactions from, you know, anywhere. So we cannot say that Mutuse was intimidated. If he feels, or we need to feel, that he was intimidated, then why did he file the motion against the DP president? So the lawyers and the advocates that were bringing those questions, that were very straight to the point, they just really wanted to understand on each and every allegation, is Mutuse having a fact on it? And that is why the question, in fact, Mutuse was given a hint on how to answer the questions. It is a yes or no. You know, could they have gone deeper to wanting Mutuse to demystify his allegations against the deputy president, and then we could now have seen Mutuse even shrinking because he has not practiced law anywhere, right? So I don't feel if these people are really intimidating Mutuse. They were straight to the point.
Na swala la kuweza sasa kumbuli Mutuse?
Mutuse was not bullied anywhere. Mutuse bullied himself. Reason being, there is no way you are coming with a case. You know, you are trying to impeach a deputy president. A deputy president is second in command. If today, God forbid, the president is not there or is incapacitated, it's the deputy president who will preside over the affairs of this country. And you want to go and impeach the deputy president, but you don't have facts. Out of 11 grounds, of course the Senate voted to uphold 5 grounds out of 11 grounds. But in my own opinion, even those 5 grounds, they were kind of politically instigated. Reason being, we listened, you know, it was a fair trial. It was all over the media. And every Kenyan will get access to the hearing. And we saw it. We saw the reactions of Kenyans on X, on all other social media platforms. Every Kenyan was asking Mutuse, do you really know what you are doing? So, in my own opinion, Mutuse had a backup of the numbers in both houses. Especially in the National Assembly, Mutuse felt like, these are my people, these are my colleagues, we've already controlled them. Tumewa control, that is the local language. So for him, he had a very fair ground in the National Assembly. And there was nobody really to challenge Mutuse in the National Assembly. Even the 40 MPs who voted no to the motion did not even get an opportunity for the hearing itself, because Mutuse did not make a presentation in the National Assembly. But at the Senate, even those senators who were prepared to just support the motion without listening, they stood back and said, no, this person, no, he doesn't know what he's doing. So if the same had been done in the National Assembly, probably, maybe, the motion will have not proceeded to the to the Senate. So in my own opinion, Mutuse was not bullied in any way. Mutuse was given a very fair hearing. He was given time to answer. And remember, the lawyers did not harass Mutuse, since a lawyer is working on a given time bound. When you're presenting a case or you're cross-examining the motion mover, you have time that is limited.
Kuna swali ambalo tulikuwa tunazungumzia kuhusiana na ni nani ambaye atachukua nafasi ya Rigathi Gachagua atakapong'atuliwa uongozini. Bila shaka kuna wazo kwamba Kithure Kindiki, waziri wa usalama wa ndani, ataweza kuchukua nafasi hiyo, na kuna wengi ambao walikuwa wasilishwa kwamba waweze pia kupata nafasi hiyo. Veron, unahisi kwamba Kithure Kindiki ana nafasi hii bora zaidi kuweza kuingia kwenye mamlaka?
Yeah, Moses, I think first of all, iwapo court itachukua msimamo kulingana na the katiba, Rigathi Gachagua hafai kwenda nyumbani. But again, if it happens otherwise, I think comparing Rigathi Gachagua and Kindiki, I think Kindiki is a little bit more sober in terms of public image, in terms of administration, and owing to his academic skills and, you know, what he has done so far. So for me, I think Kindiki can be 50% way better as compared to all the fronted the people who had been, you know, nominated before, like Gladys Wanga, tulikuwa na Waiguru. So Kindiki is in a good position because the president literally needs somebody who is parallel in terms of political, how do you call it, political moves. Because najua Gachagua and Rais, Gachagua was literally starting to duplicate what deputy applied before he mounted to power. So with Ruto cannot work with somebody who challenges him. That's one thing. Ruto will want somebody who is quiet, who gets in the commands and executes. But Gachagua and Ruto were a little bit parallel.
Ndio maana ilimshinda kuweza kufanya kazi na Rigathi Gachagua.
Absolutely.
Kwa hivyo,
and again alikuwa he was feeling like Gachagua might be a threat because he was employing exactly strategies he used to employ when he was the deputy president to Uhuru, showing sympathy to wananchi, you know, walking all over and defending his own you know, region. So Kindiki might give us a good you know, a good run in terms of administrations and executions.
Wanasema once beaten twice shy.
Absolutely.
Kindiki is serving as the CS for Interior. So hakuna vile anaweza toka kwa position ya CS all of a sudden aingie kwa position ya deputy president. He ought to have resigned and leave the position for at least 3 months for him to qualify. Secondly, Kithure Kindiki is not a member of any political party. In fact, he's not a member of the UDA party. And the membership of UDA party, he denounced it the moment he was appointed to serve as a state officer. So that means he has to take time for him to begin at the polling station level, ndiye apande all the way to come to the deputy party leader of the UDA party for him to occupy that position. So all I can say is that Kindiki does not qualify. In fact, Kindiki served as a lawyer of William Ruto during the time the president was facing charges at the International Criminal Court. You know, that case, how it went, you know, witnesses and so on. So you find that Kindiki also presided over the mass killings of young people during the protests because he was the authority instructing. So he does not, in fact, there's a case that has been filed by Okia Umtata ya kuchallenge the nomination of Kithure Kindiki based on that. And again, Kithure Kindiki does not have the political muscle to occupy the space that Rigathi Gachagua shall be living in Mount Kenya. He does not have the mobilizing power, you know. He does not have the economic power. And there are rumors that Kindiki was proposed long ago to become the deputy president. But because of his inability to support the campaigns and so on, so Rigathi Gachagua took the position. So in my own opinion, Kindiki does not qualify.
Ungependekeza nani?
Na pia tena kabla tuende hapo, Kindiki has not resigned from his current position. Remember, this is not a promotion, you know. This is a totally different position. Lazima uresign, urudi chini. He has not been cleared by the relevant authorities. Although the president said that Kindiki was cleared by IBC, he was cleared by HELB, by EACC. No, we've not heard about that. Kindiki has not gone through thorough grilling. And there has to be a space for public participation also. Why do we say public participation? During the grilling of these CSs, when there was a reshuffle recently, we found out that people's net worth had already grown. In less than 2 years, mtu amepandisha net worth na like 400 million. So Kindiki also need to declare his net worth. We need to know under what grounds the EACC clear him without the vetting. Kwa hivyo, Kithure Kindiki does not qualify. In my own opinion, we cannot discuss who is fit to take over the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua.
And I'm just asking myself, if it was done by William Samoei Ruto before, and Uhuru did not take any offense to impeach deputy president by then, the then deputy president who is the current president of Kenya, why are we now seeing that whatever Gachagua is doing is now bad? And his master, his president, first in command, did the same thing.
Kabisa. Mpenzi mtazamaji, huyo ni Victor na vile vile Vera ambao wananisaidia kuweza kujadili swala hili ambalo ni pana zaidi kwa wenyeji na pia wananchi wa kawaida. Ikiwa basi limekufikia mpenzi mtazamaji, bila shaka ikumbuke kwamba wazo hili linaenda moja kwa moja kuhusiana na sheria na katiba. Tukirejea kwenye sehemu ya pili, tungependa kujua hasa iwapo viongozi ambao wanaongoza taifa hili la Kenya wanafahamu vizuri sana ama vyema sana kuhusiana na masuala ya sheria na katiba. Iwapo sheria haikuchukuliwa vizuri sana, basi nafasi ya Rigathi Gachagua kuweza kurudi uongozini ipo wapi? Na basi iwapo kulikuwa na tatizo kwenye sheria, basi atakaporudi uongozini masuala yatakuwa kama gani?